You don't need to spend a lot to get good audio, but you do need to learn just a little. It's always a bummer when you spend a ton on some good gear and you don't really get the results that you were looking for. Just finished watching a video from JayzTwoCents detailing his shenanigans in picking up a Shure SM7b and all of the different pieces of outboard gear he needed to properly power that mic and get the audio quality he wanted. And the end point of his video detailing his experiences, that totally rings true. You don't want to just go grab a piece of professional equipment because you see someone else using it or it's become kind of trendy to use that kind of gear. But in seeing how Jay was using the SM7b, I thought it would be worth pointing out that he himself has probably fallen prey to that kind of popular equipment thing. There are reasons why we use different mics to produce different kinds of content. It's a lot like camera lenses. You don't just go buy one super zoom and think everything across that entire focal range is gonna be golden. You can't just go buy a nice mic and expect it's gonna fit into your workflow without making any adjustments. Jay tells the doleful tale of getting the SM7b, then needing to find a way to boost the output and using it with an interface, and then needing some EQ because he wants that warm, rich sound. But then we see Jay using the mic, and it seems he's unaware of one very important recording philosophy. And you'll see a number of comments trying to clue him in down at the bottom of his video. I am, of course, talking about the proximity effect. Without getting too deep into the physics of recording technology, the proximity effect basically states that the closer you get to a directional recording element, the more hyped low-frequency sounds will become. I'm gonna repeat that because it bears repeating. The closer you get to a directional microphone, the more accentuated lower frequencies will get. You put your face right up against an SM7b and you'll get a warmer and more lush sound. I love the SM7b. I've used it in a number of recording studios, especially radio station style productions. I don't actually have one in-house to demonstrate this, but I do like using dynamic microphones in the Gadget Lab. Right above my head right now is an almost 20-year-old SM57, sort of the little baby brother to the SM7b. Hands down, the microphone I use most often in the Gadget Lab, even though I've got a mic locker that's still probably worth more than my car. And the reasoning for that is twofold. Not only can I work it closer to get a warmer sound, but this type of dynamic microphone does a really good job of capturing those middle frequencies of sound where the human voice lives. There's a good reason why these mic elements haven't changed much since the late 60s. But reason the second, they're also really good at rejecting noise in your general environment. I'm a weirdo in that I like to use them with just a bit of distance, and I prefer the sound of this over, say, using a shotgun microphone in an enclosed space. We all have our individual recording quirks, but to demonstrate what I'm talking about, this is a directional microphone. It's a cardioid dynamic microphone. That's, what is that? It's about that far away from the top of my head. But if I move this microphone right next to my face and I try to speak at the same general level that I was speaking at with the mic above my head, you should be able to hear a pretty clear difference in the tone from what I was capturing before. When we talk about that lush, warm, rich radio style sound, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a proximity right on top of the subject that you're trying to capture. There's a lot that we can do to try and make another microphone or a lower cost microphone sound like this old school warm radio setup. But honestly, the easiest way I found to get this sound is to just do this. And I don't mess with any EQ or any adjustments or filtering. I try to do it all in microphone. Kind of the philosophy again, if you compare it to photographers. There are some photographers who want everything done through the lens, capturing it directly on the sensor. And there are some photographers who really enjoy the post-processing part of their job to really manipulate an image. Different strokes for different folks. And remember, it's not just tone. It's not just the character of the microphone. Dynamics have that advantage of being a little less articulate, and that also makes them a lot better at rejecting noise around you in your environment. So I happen to have a Blue Yeti right over here. This was one of the other mics mentioned in Jay's video. Let's see which one picks up more noise in the Gadget Lab. Starting with the SM57, I've got the levels dialed in for right next to my face, and then I'll just switch back and forth between this mic and the Yeti, and we should be able to hear some slight differences in room tone. I've never been a microphone snob. I'm not one of those people who says that this mic is garbage, you should never buy a USB microphone, but I always do hope that people understand that different tools are kind of necessary for achieving different results. Someone describing the type of sound you would get from an SM7b, also someone describing a space that they can't perfectly control and they might have issues with noise coming into their space. I don't know that I would recommend the Yeti just because it's cheaper. So Jay, I hope that helps you out. Since you have one of the warmest, richest microphones that money can buy, you just gotta put it a little closer to your face. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. This is just a quick little jump-in tutorial, a little editorial, a response, if you will, to a video that I saw from someone who seemed to be struggling a little bit with these kinds of recording concepts. If this kind of stuff is interesting to you, drop a comment down below and we can talk about some other tips and tricks to really improve the quality of your audio. I used to post a bunch of stuff as Some Audio Guy before I became Some Gadget Guy. You know where you can find me around the rest of the internet at Some Gadget Guy on the Twitters and the Twitch and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. And I will catch you all on the next video.